Welcome to another episode of Thailand Truth Talks. 82% fail, not struggle, fail. Lost savings, frozen pensions, weaponized bureaucracy. This year I documented why, case by case, pattern by pattern. And what I found will change everything you thought you knew about paradise. 300 stolen passports, $2 billion in active fraud networks, and one detail from a victim's testimony I'll never forget. Someone inside a trafficking compound whispering to a friend, "Help, they have guns." As I make this journey from the urban heart of Bangkok to the shores of the Bay of Thailand, watching the cityscape gradually give way to open waters, I find myself reflecting on what has been an absolutely extraordinary year. The morning light catches the edges of buildings, casting long shadows that seem to mark the passage of time itself. To everyone who has taken the time to engage with this content, I want to say thank you from the deepest part of my heart. It all began mid-year, during a period of transition. I had taken on a researcher position while onboarding for a government position, a process filled with waiting periods. During those evenings and weekends, I found myself with time and energy to channel into something productive, something that would allow me to explore storytelling and build communities. I remember sitting in my apartment, staring at a blank document, wondering if anyone would care. That moment of doubt feels distant now, but it was real. The fear that this would be just another voice in the void, another channel lost in the algorithm. The project was threefold. I envisioned three distinct channels, each serving different purposes and exploring different aspects of the expat experience. The first was for mysterious and supernatural folklore, a channel for entertaining, atmospheric content where subscribers could share their encounters with the unexplainable. The second channel occupied an interesting middle ground, using stories sent in from subscribers and emphasizing the extreme and unusual, those moments that make for incredible stories. And then there was this channel, Thailand Truth Talks, the non-fictional channel dedicated to investigation, to uncovering truths, to shining light on scams, controversies, and conspiracies affecting expats. This was where I wanted to do serious work, provide real value, where research and verification would be paramount. This was the channel that scared me most, because truth has consequences. When I started, I threw myself in with unsustainable intensity. I was posting hour-long videos, 9 per week across all three channels, 9 hours of content weekly. For months, I maintained this pace, researching, scripting, recording, editing, managing engagement, responding to messages, verifying information, building audiences from nothing. After you finish this video, you can look at the description and find the link for all three channels. It was exhausting, exhilarating, educational. I learned so much about content creation, technical production, algorithms, audience response, and my own capabilities and limitations. What I didn't expect was how it would change me, how reading stories from victims, even through screens and messages, would leave marks, how hearing "I lost everything" so many times would start to sound like a chorus, how anger at injustice could fuel 40-hour work weeks without breaking me. Some nights I'd lie awake, replaying stories from people I'd never met, their words looping in my mind until sunrise painted my apartment walls. As time went on, I noticed the folklore channel didn't give me the same fulfillment as the others. I found myself drawn to the dramatic stories and especially to Thailand Truth Talks, channels where I could do meaningful work and provide value beyond simple entertainment. So I adjusted. focusing on 6 videos per week at 30 to 40 minutes each. Still substantial, but more manageable and aligned with where I wanted to direct my energy. The response was incredible. Comment sections became spaces for genuine discussion and sharing experiences. Subscribers sent tips, shared stories, and created a community that went beyond passive viewership. You became collaborators, contributors to something larger. When I see veterans sharing survival strategies with retirees, when victims warn newcomers about patterns they recognize, when success stories inspire those still struggling, that's not parasocial relationships, that's genuine human connection. You prove that community still exists in digital spaces, that people want truth even when it's uncomfortable, that there is an audience for long form investigation in an age of 15-second clips, that strangers from different countries, different backgrounds, different life circumstances can unite around a shared value: transparency. With your encouragement, both extreme expat stories of Thailand and Thailand Truth Talks reached monetization, validation that the work mattered, that the community we were building had value. But I want to be clear: monetization of my channels has never been the primary motivation. The real reward is you. The messages from people who avoided scams, the comments from expats who gained information for important decisions, the sense of community around truth and transparency. Tell me in the comments which investigation we should prioritize next year. Looking back at our body of work, I'm genuinely proud. We produced investigations into visa scams, romance fraud patterns, rental schemes, property fraud, healthcare billing issues, topics directly impacting expat lives. I remember those early investigations that started it all. The first episode laid out the true cost of living, the $50,000 emergency fund rule built on 200 expat interviews, visa realities, and that crucial 90-day survival plan. It set the tone. No fantasy, just research-backed facts. Then came Marcus's story, that phone call that changed everything. Romance scams, fake real estate, phantom visa agents, criminal expat friends. That investigation exposed a network still operating today and taught me how deep these rabbit holes go. John's nightmare followed, a British retiree whose dream retirement became frozen pensions, medical debt, and invisible walls he couldn't escape. That episode revealed how quickly the paradise promised can turn into a trap, and it resonated deeply with viewers facing similar fears. David's case showed the perfect storm: new banking rules, frozen pensions, medical debt, immigration crackdowns. Over 12,000 expats had lost legal status that year alone. His weekly check-ins at immigration, the confiscated passport, the endless fees. It painted a picture of weaponized bureaucracy that many recognized in their own experiences. The Destination Thailand visa investigation was a turning point. We exposed fake e-visa portals, hidden soft power fees, embassy roulette, and that devastating extension trap. Jacob, Maria, Ahmed, and Kenji's stories showed how hope turned to nightmare, and the community response was massive. People sharing their own horror stories, comparing notes, building collective knowledge. When we uncovered the surveillance infrastructure, biometric tracking, 62,000 AI cameras in the capital, SIM registration crackdowns, viewers realized the Paradise postcard hid a serious digital control system. That telecom regulator interview, the immigration officer testimony, the flagged expat story, those gave the episode credibility that turned skeptics into believers. The AI voice cloning episode still haunts me. 168 million scam attempts last year, 2024, alone. 3 for every person in the country. Fake embassies, romance traps, government deepfakes, family emergency scams. with even the Prime Minister being a target. It drove home how sophisticated these operations had become. David Mitchell's £45 million property scam network investigation revealed how grief and loneliness became targeting criteria. The phantom condo, the recruitment by blackmail, the professional staging. It showed scamming had become an industry with sophisticated psychological profiling. Alan Sampson's story brought everything together: the romance site trap, the fake visa program, the resort that didn't exist, a triangle of scams that cost him 2 million baht in 1 year. That episode proved how multiple fraud networks coordinate to maximize extraction from a single victim. Janus's case demonstrated selective enforcement, how helping a friend with document translation spiraled into accusations of visa fraud and illegal business ownership. His metal cage detention image became symbolic of how middle-class expats are being quietly eliminated while wealthy foreigners glide through unnoticed. The 82% failure rate investigation was sobering. Why do most Western retirees fail here? The expat tax, healthcare horrors, visa roulette, business ownership scams, cultural misfires. We laid out every trap with real numbers and real consequences. When we exposed the so-called 10-year visa as a wealth test in disguise, the backlash from visa agents was intense. But expats needed to know. Your net worth decides your future now, not your intentions. Surveillance, cultural loyalty checks, banking betrayals, it's all connected. The medical scam episode, AI voice cloning your nephew, fake insurance policies, QR code crypto traps, biometric theft, showed how technology supercharged traditional cons. And the Western scammers investigation revealed the most dangerous truth. Your fellow expats might be your biggest threat. That $2 billion hunting ground, those call centers, the best friend betrayals. Trust became a liability. Our crisis investigations documented the banking lockouts, visa roulette, the air apocalypse in the north, frozen pensions, empty condos, the systematic collapse of the expat dream for 82% of Western foreigners. But we also show the 18% who survived, their strategies, their global trust fortresses, their health check sabbaticals, their real-time border intel, practical survival tactics from those who figured it out. The trafficking pipeline investigation was the darkest work I've ever done. Fake visa companies stealing 300 passports, the 89% fraud rule from government data, sophisticated legal front scams and compounds forcing victims into fraud rings under armed guard. If this work has helped you avoid even one scam, write one line about where you are and what warning sign you caught. Then the policy predictions, student visa massacres, mandatory insurance weaponized, bank requirement shocks, 90-day reporting fees, exit taxes, real-time bank surveillance, 5 moves between now and the end of the decade that will reshape who can afford to retire here. We documented the romance, rental, visa, travel, crypto, industrial fraud complex, tore open the pension tax rules treaty by treaty, and revealed how banking sweeps and anti-money laundering enforcement turned routine transfers into multi-week freezes. The accommodation scams, ultranationalist rallies, road extortion, the 5 brutal truths, pet relocation rackets, funeral insurance traps. Every investigation added another piece to the puzzle. When American veterans' 8% success rate emerged, when legal visa scam networks exposed forged documents, when blackmail honey traps revealed systematic extortion, when the $50 tax trap showed how small requests cascade into 6-figure theft, each story reinforced the same message. Paradise has a price, and ignorance is the most expensive currency. Our nationalism episode, our government impersonation episode, the revelation of a hidden retirement gem, the suicide crisis warning. Every topic mattered because real people were suffering. Then the healthcare three-tier pricing expose, that 250,000 baht flu bill that dropped to 150,000 with local documentation, the fake insurance call centers, prescription cartels, visa rule insurance loops, documentation that show the system is structured to extract wealth from foreign retirees. Finally, the industrial-scale theft investigation pulled it all together. Michael's $1.1 million crypto loss, Zhou's trafficking compound, Catherine's seized villa, James and Sarah's midnight police robbery, the mortgage scam. Patterns that proved these aren't random crimes but engineered extraction systems. Each investigation required hours of research, verification, cross-referencing, and careful presentation. I've collected interviews from victims, consulted experts, reviewed documents, and worked to ensure everything meets a standard of accuracy and reliability. That commitment to truth distinguishes Thailand Truth Talks from sensationalist content prioritizing clicks over credibility. There's a side to this work I haven't shared much. The investigations that went nowhere, the sources who disappeared after initial contact, the nights I sat paralyzed by the weight of stories I couldn't verify but felt were true. There were threats, not many, but enough. Anonymous accounts warning me to mind my own business. A visa agent who found my personal email and sent a detailed message explaining what happens to troublemakers. I changed my security protocols after that. Started being more careful about what personal details I share. The hardest part wasn't the threats, it was the mistakes. The episode where I misidentified a scam company's location because I trusted a source who was wrong. I had to issue a correction, apologize publicly, eat humble pie. That taught me more about journalistic integrity than any textbook ever could. And there were the human costs, the victims I couldn't help, the emails that said, "I wish I'd found your channel 3 months ago, before I lost everything." Those emails sit in a folder I can't bring myself to delete, but can't bear to read again. This work changed how I see this place. I can't walk through the main districts without recognizing the patterns now. The helpful strangers who speak perfect English, the too good to be true property deals plastered on poles, the visa offices with pristine websites and no physical address. The innocence is gone. Maybe that's the price of truth-telling. As I travel toward the coast, watching the landscape change from urban density to open horizons, I'm reminded how much journey matters. It's not just about destinations, it's about what we learn, who we meet, how we grow, and what we contribute. This physical journey mirrors our metaphorical journey throughout the year, starting from the urban center, moving through diverse landscapes, eventually arriving where land meets sea, where one element transitions into another. There's something profound about that transition, speaking to the nature of change, growth, and evolution. This place itself is a country of transitions and contrasts. Ancient temples alongside modern skyscrapers, traditional markets beside luxury malls, rural villages hours from cosmopolitan cities. Living here as an expat means navigating these contrasts, understanding transitions, finding your place in a culture both welcoming and foreign. This channel has tried to capture that complexity. We haven't shied away from difficult topics, scams destroying savings, systemic issues affecting expats, the darker side of paradise, but we've also tried to maintain nuance, fairness, recognition that this place is complex and cannot be reduced to simple good or bad narratives. Here's what I've learned about myself this year. I'm more resilient than I thought, but also more vulnerable. I can work 80-hour weeks when purpose drives me, but I also need silence and solitude to process what I've heard. I care deeply, perhaps too deeply, about people I've never met, whose stories I've told. And I've discovered that anger at injustice, properly channeled, isn't a weakness, it's fuel. The journey hasn't been without challenges. Investigations hit dead ends, sources disappeared, information couldn't be verified to required standards. technical difficulties, equipment failures, learning curves with software, moments of doubt when workload felt overwhelming, when negative comments stung. Ethical considerations required careful thought. How do you investigate scams without helping scammers refine techniques? How do you share victim stories while protecting privacy and dignity? How do you warn without creating unnecessary fear? These questions required ongoing reflection. I've made mistakes. Audio quality wasn't always optimal. I stumbled over words, sometimes prioritized quantity over quality. The learning process has been public, and that vulnerability has been both humbling and, I hope, humanizing. Through all these challenges, community support has been constant. We've been patient with imperfections, generous with feedback, understanding when adjustments were needed. That support made continued improvements possible. I started this channel thinking I would inform you. Turns out, you informed me just as much. You prove that people want truth even when it's uncomfortable. That there's an audience for long-form investigation in an age of 15-second clips. That strangers from different countries, different backgrounds, different life circumstances can unite around a shared value: transparency. You proved I'm not alone in believing this matters. Every comment saying, "This saved me," every subscriber who became a contributor, every person who shared a video because they thought someone else needed to see it. You validated the work when I doubted its worth. But more than that, you proved something about resilience. The expats who watch this channel aren't victims. You're survivors, strategists, problem solvers navigating an incredibly complex system with grace and determination. You deserve content that respects your intelligence and serves your needs. This community proved that journalism, real journalism, the kind that digs and verifies and refuses to accept easy narratives, still has value, that it's worth doing right even when doing it fast will be easier. So when I say thank you, I'm not just being polite, I mean it. You made this possible. You made it matter. I don't know what lies ahead. Professional obligations will require my focus. My office closes during winter holidays, and I won't have access to typical resources. This video marks the end of our year together in terms of new content for the immediate future. But this isn't an ending, it's a pause, a moment to catch our breath, reflect on what we've accomplished, and prepare for what comes next. I intend to continue this work in the next year. There are investigations to pursue, stories to tell, truths to uncover. This place is complex, a land of incredible beauty and culture, but also where expats face unique challenges, where scams evolve constantly, where truth isn't always easy to find. There's more work to be done. The new year will bring new topics. Scam techniques evolve constantly. Immigration policies continue changing. Healthcare regulations update. Banking requirements shift. The landscape is never static, meaning there will always be a need for the investigation and reporting Thailand Truth Talks provides. I want to explore deeper, more analytical content, looking at broader patterns, systemic issues, underlying factors making certain frauds possible. What legal gaps do scammers exploit? How do cultural differences create vulnerabilities? What role does technology play in enabling these systems? There are also positive stories to tell. Not everything about expat life is avoiding scams or navigating bureaucracy. People have built successful businesses here. Families have integrated beautifully. Communities support each other and thrive. Sharing those stories, highlighting what works, is also important for balanced perspective. To those with me from the beginning, who watched early videos when production was rough and format uncertain, thank you for giving me a chance. Your loyalty means everything. To recent discoveries, perhaps through specific investigations or recommendations, welcome. I hope you'll explore the archive. There are also the other 2 channels listed in the description. Each video represents hours of work, and while addressing specific topics, many principles and warning signs are applicable to multiple situations. to those who donated. Supporting this work financially, even through content, is freely available. Your generosity has been humbling. It allowed better equipment investment, more investigation time, pursuing leads requiring resources. You've directly contributed to quality. To those who shared videos, recommended the channel, discussed investigations in forums, you've been ambassadors. You helped build the audience, spread important information, and partnered in uncovering truth. Word of mouth is invaluable, and your willingness to share useful content has been instrumental in helping Thailand Truth Talks reach people needing this information. To those who simply watched, giving me your time and attention in an era where both are precious, thank you. I don't take viewership for granted. In an age of infinite scroll and algorithmic recommendations, choosing long-form investigative content represents real commitment, and I'm honored. As we approach the shore, as the waters come into view, I'm filled with gratitude and possibility. The ocean represents both ending and beginning, where land stops, but also where new journeys can begin. Vast and sometimes dangerous, but also beautiful and full of life. That feels like an appropriate metaphor for this year and what next year might hold. We've reached the end of one chapter, accomplished things I didn't imagine possible when first uploading videos mid-year. But we're also standing at the beginning of something new, looking out at possibilities stretching to the horizon. The coast is a place of transition, where solid ground gives way to flowing water. Certainty meets mystery. The known world ends and the unknown begins. Standing at the ocean's edge always fills me with humility. The sea is so vast, so powerful, so indifferent to human concerns, reminding us we are small, that our problems and achievements exist within much larger context. But the coast is also opportunity, where exploration begins, voyages launch, new worlds are discovered. Throughout history, the coast has been departure and arrival, farewell and reunion, risk and reward. It's fitting I find myself here at this moment of reflection and transition. The journey from the urban center to the coast took me through many different landscapes, dense city areas where millions live in close proximity with constant energy and relentless pace, suburban areas where density thins but urban influence remains, transition zones where city gives way to rural high-rises, replaced by low houses and eventually open fields. Finally, coastal areas where land meets sea and different life becomes possible. Each zone has its own character, challenges, opportunities. In many ways, they represent different aspects of expat experience. Some thrive in the city's intensity where anonymity is possible and Western amenities readily available. Others prefer smaller towns where life moves slower and integration is more achievable. Still others are drawn to coastal areas where natural beauty and relaxed lifestyle becomes priority. There's no single right answer for where or how to live here. What works for one person might be completely wrong for another. That diversity of experiences make the expat community here interesting and valuable. We all have different priorities, resources, challenges, and dreams. I hope to continue working for you in the coming year. That phrase is important, working for you, because that's how I see this. I'm not creating content in a vacuum or just satisfying my own curiosity. I'm doing this because I believe it serves a purpose for a community needing reliable information, deserving to know truth, benefiting from investigations into scams and controversies that could affect their lives. This is my mission statement, and I want it to be clear. Thailand Truth Talks exists to be the voice asking uncomfortable questions, the channel that refuses to accept surface-level answers, the community where truth matters more than comfort. We will not look away from difficult realities. We will not prioritize palatability over accuracy. We will not stop investigating just because someone wants us to. You are the reason this channel exists. Your questions, concerns, experiences guide investigations. Your engagement, feedback, willingness to participate make the community valuable. Your trust, loyalty, support make the work sustainable. The relationship between content creator and audience is complex. On one level, it's transactional. I create, you watch. That exchange keeps the system functioning. But on another level, it's deeply personal. When someone trusts you with their time, allows your voice into their lives, engages with ideas and information you present, that's a responsibility not to be taken lightly. I've tried throughout this year to honor that responsibility, to be accurate in reporting, fair in assessments, transparent about methods and limitations, responsive to feedback and criticism, worthy of the trust you place in me every time you click on a video. That commitment will continue in the new year. If anything, I hope to do even better, to raise investigation and reporting standards, provide even more value. The foundation has been built this year. Now it's time to build upward, expand scope, deepen relationships, make Thailand Truth Talks an even more valuable resource. As this year closes, as we enter the holiday season and prepare for a new year, I wish you all the best. I hope your holidays are filled with joy, connection, rest, and renewal. Whether here or somewhere else in the world, whether with family, friends, or choosing solitude, may you find peace and happiness. The holiday season can be difficult for expats. Being far from home during times traditionally associated with family gatherings can amplify loneliness or disconnection. If you're experiencing these feelings, please know you're not alone. This community is here. Resources are available. People care. Reach out. Connect. Don't suffer in isolation. The new year brings promise of fresh starts, new opportunities, and continuing to build on what we've created together. I'm excited about what might be possible, grateful for what has already been achieved, and committed to continuing this journey with you. Thailand will be continuing to be my home for now, at least for this chapter. It's where I work, live, where I build connections and found purpose. Through these channels, I've been able to share this place with you, not just beautiful beaches, temples, and street food, but the reality of life here, the challenges and opportunities of being a long-term expat. Truths not always comfortable, but always important. That work will continue. The investigations, the stories, the community, because there's more to uncover, more to discuss, more to learn, and more to share. Thank you for making this year extraordinary. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for caring about truth, valuing transparency, engaging with content, trying to go beyond surface-level entertainment to provide real value and real insight. As I reach the coast, looking out at waters stretching endlessly into distance, I'm reminded that every journey, no matter how long or challenging, is made meaningful by the people who take it with you. You have been my companions this year. You made this work worthwhile. You've given me reason to continue pushing forward, even when workload felt overwhelming. Investigations hit dead ends, or technical challenges seemed insurmountable. The waves roll in, constant and rhythmic. The tides come in, washes away footprints in the sand, leaves the beach clean for whatever comes next. That's what we do too. We clear away the lies, expose the patterns, make room for truth. Some things are worth fighting for, and you proved to me this year that truth is one of them. Thank you.